Fuck, we're on episode 38, right?
Whoa.
Yes.
Wait. Whoa. No, we're not. Hold on. I think you got the number wrong. I'm gonna prove it.
Okay.
I know that number is off. Hold on. Oh no, you're right. It is 38. Wow. I was convinced you were one off.
Because I said it.
Yeah, because you said it. Yeah, for Thought Girl Summer.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 38 of the Migtown podcast, your only weekly source for the lifestyle. As always, I'm producer Tim. Joining me is Drexel, the mayor of Migtown. Say hi.
Hello, everybody. We got a special guest today, a guy that I am very proud to record with, that I've always been a big fan of. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Man, all right. Amr Mitwali, a.k.a. Alpha Male Lifestyle, in the house tonight.
Yeah, buddy.
You know, this is one of the most diverse recording we've ever done.
Diversity is our strength, man. I mean, look, I got my man Amr here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go ahead. We're going to spit roast him tonight, Amr. We got to go ahead and give it to him, man. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, come together in the middle with the Eiffel Tower, the fist bump, and let people know what's really going on out here. Because, as you know, a lot of things have been going on. And, Amr, I got a few questions for you. And you know what? You know how we get down in this lifestyle.
Yep.
There are people out there that are talking about, red pill, blue pill, purple pill, pink pill. Amr, I just had a lovely lady on that we recorded with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told her what Kevin Samuels has been talking about, right? And he said, winter is coming, ladies. He basically said winter is here, right? It's over. And I let her know how over it is. You are in the same boat as me. You know it's over. Full black pill, like it's over.
It's over. Women are so insufferable today. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. They all have so much baggage, plus not to mention they have previous boyfriends. I mean, they probably lost their virginity around, 9, 10 years old. Nowadays, you don't know. So by the time she's legal, 18, she probably could have had like 100 different guys in her life, to the point where it's just not worth it anymore.
Oh, yeah. There was actually I put up that post. There was a girl that actually said that she had hit 100 bodies by 18.
Yeah.
Yep. Because it's easy. I mean, women are going to do what's easy. I mean, let's face it. People in general are going to do what's easy. The difference is because society is completely gynocentric, it's going to enable women to do what's easiest for them. And that being said, Amr, we'll start off with the first question, man. I want you to tell people, detail what happened with your marriage. And because a lot of guys out there may not know you. Yeah. I've listened to your videos. I'm a longtime subscriber. I've been watching you for about 2 years. I remember when Susan nuked your channel. I was there for that, and I couldn't find you for a while. And then you popped up again. I said, "It's Amr." And I remember you talked about your marriage, and I remember you went to was it the Philippines? You were in
Vietnam.
That's right. Okay, yeah. Go ahead and talk about your marriage and just like how that led you obviously down the red pill path.
Oh, Lord. I mean, first of all, for all of you guys out there who say Western women are the worst, hijabis, these Arab women, they make Western women look like choir girls and innocent little women. So let's get that right off the bat. Now, getting into the story, this girl, she pretty much love bombed me. Now, when I married her, it was a couple of years ago. I think I was like 37. I'm now 40. And by that time, I co-owned a restaurant with my Egyptian cousin in Egypt. It was doing quite well. It was in the glitzy part of the neighborhood. She was working in the salon in front of us as a microblading artist. She does microblading, eyebrows, stuff like that. So she was making good money. She's been to Dubai. So I said to myself, hey, this is a girl who saw the world. She's been all over. Therefore, I'm doing well. And at the same time, she's not going to be that type of girl who's going to be like, because I see all these hijabis who come to America and they go crazy, man. Like for
Yep.
example, a couple of years ago, I was in Santa Monica before the whole Scamarona thing happened. Man, these Arabs, they'll come in during like the summertime, like right now. There are probably more Arabs in Santa Monica than anybody else. And you should see all these Arab women from like the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Dubai. Oh my God, these girls are pretty much eye humping every guy that walks past them. I mean, you can go to any of these galleries and be like, stop, and they'll automatically spread their legs for you. This is how these girls are. So I said, my wife, she's been traveling, so she's probably not going to be the whole, oh my God, I got to have as many guys inside of me as I can. Um, Turned out that she was a Dubai porter party. Now, to my defense, I did not know that. Um, and this is the
Hey,
problem.
Coach Greg Adams would hit the buzzer on you, right? He would go,
He,
or he'd give you the prices wrong, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. Okay. There were some red flags that kind of like suppressed because I said to myself, hey, this is the home country, traditional Muslim. I love Muhammad. I love Allah. I love Jesus. Whatever. She came from a good family. Turns out that her family actually knew my family, and um I everything you put everything together, this should have worked out on paper perfectly. And yes, she did have some red flags here and there. Like for example, she told me, Amr, you never ever want to see me upset. I thought to myself, this is just something Egyptian girls do. Because a lot of people tell me Egyptian women are like mentally unbalanced, so they have like mood swings. That's what happens when you're from Africa. You have low IQ, you have high amounts of estrogen, so that makes them mentally unbalanced. I was like, okay, that's just a little bit of Egyptian mentally unbalanced thing going on. But the reality of the matter, those were red flags that I should have said, let me get the FUCK out of here.
Yep. So go ahead.
I was gonna say we were only married for a month. We knew each other for about half a year before we got married. And once we got married, we were together for not even 14 days before I hopped on the plane, came back to America, and served her divorce papers. We got married. Then a couple of days later, we go off to the Orient for our honeymoon. Now, she wanted Malaysia, I wanted Vietnam, so I said, okay, we're gonna go to Malaysia, we're gonna go to Vietnam, then we're gonna come back to Malaysia. And when I came home because I was wherever I go, I always do business, right? So
Yep.
I came back from a business, and I'm like, all right, let's go to the airport. She's sitting there, and she's like, hey, I got your suitcase ready. You go to the airport, have fun. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she's like, yeah, you go to the airport, you have fun. I'm like, listen, if I go to the airport by myself, guess what? We're not going to be married. So she comes with me to the airport. We go to the airport, and we were taking Saudi Arabia airline from Cairo to Jeddah, Jeddah to wherever in the Orient. And the plane in Cairo, it has mechanical problems. So they're like, well, we don't know what's gonna happen. You guys have to sit around and see what we're gonna do. So she gets up and she decides to like walk outside of Cairo airport. And I'm like, honey, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm gonna get an Uber and go back to Alexander. And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah. I mean, it's obvious the plane is not gonna take up tonight. So I'm just gonna go back to Alexandria. I'm like, if you go back to Alexandria, we're not married. So she stayed with me, and then what happened is that the plane had big mechanical issues. So they said you're gonna spend the night in Cairo, and they actually took really good care. Saudi Arabia Airlines really took good care of us. They had us spend the night not only in Hilton in Cairo, but they actually gave us complimentary open buffet breakfast, and then they gave us vouchers for lunch, which I enjoyed. She, on the other hand, she was not that happy. And man, from then on, man, it was all downhill. When we went to Malaysia, she just wanted to shop, 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 and I made it clear
Uh,
to her that yes, my family is well-to-do, but we didn't get to where we are by spending $5,000 on a Gucci handbag and shit like that. So she ended up walking away, going home all by herself. We were at the mall in Malaysia at the time, Kuala Lumpur, big mall. I forgot the name of it. I could care less. It's a big mall over there. So she just took off and went back to the hotel herself. And then, I went to the hotel later on after I did my work. Now I'm like, okay, listen, either we go our separate ways right now, or we stick together and try to make this work. So she's like, hey, let's try to make this work. So the next day, we went to Vietnam. She hated Vietnam simply because I actually liked Vietnam. We went to an island called Phu Quoc, which is like Key West. It's like the Vietnamese version of Key West. It was a secluded island. You only get there by boat or by plane. It was in the middle of winter. Everything was perfect. Everything was amazing. She just hated it because, well, it's not Kuala Lumpur, it's not Dubai, it's not big malls and fancy schmancy restaurants. So she woke up the next day, and I'm like, honey, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm booking a plane ticket back to Egypt. And at that time, I didn't stop her. At that point, I didn't stop her because I came to the conclusion that this marriage is over. So she hopped on a plane. She hopped in a cab and then went back to Egypt. She could have went to Dubai. She could have went somewhere else to one of her customers. Don't know. Don't care. I spent an additional 10 days in Vietnam. I loved it. I rode scooters. I went to Vietnam's version of Disneyland. I went to their version of Lion Country Safari. I loved Vietnam. So I was thinking seriously of taking a plane from Vietnam back to America. But I said, you know what? Why don't you be a good husband, faithful husband, try to make it work out? I could have banged a lot of women over in Vietnam. Most of them are like from Canada, because you get a lot of these, like you said, hot, well, it wasn't the summer, but hot winter girls out, stuff like that. So I could have banged a lot of girls in Vietnam, but I didn't because I wanted to be a loyal, faithful husband. I went back to Egypt, tried to make it work out. One minute she loves you, the next minute she hates you. One minute she's like, if I have your kids, I'm gonna have an abortion. Then the next minute she's riding me like Seabiscuit, wanting to get pregnant. And the one thing that really stood out, it was kind of creepy. I woke up one day and she's looking at me with disgust in her eyes. And I'm like, honey, what's up? And she's like, she picks up her cell phone and she's like, I recorded you all night snoring. I'm like, really, really, that's it? I mean, we have everything perfect. We have a condo in Boca. We have a Mercedes Benz. We have things that 98% of the population doesn't have, and you're just worried because I snore a little bit at night. And she became toxic at that point, to the point where I hopped on a plane. I came back to America, and she was trying to actually hustle me for money. She was like, "Hey, pay me back that money I spent, the $1,000 I spent on going from Egypt to freaking from Vietnam to Egypt." I'm like, you could have called Saudi Arabia Airlines and they would have done all that stuff for you for free. You just did that on your own. By that time, I realized that in her world, the marriage is over. She's checking out. She's trying to, scam me out of whatever money she can get before she runs. And I went to the Egyptian embassy to file divorce papers. And when I went to the Egyptian embassy, the guy over there, really, really good guy at the Egyptian embassy, he said, we already have a right now saint, and then after you marry them, they go berserk. So the guy's like, hey, we have every form you need for the power of attorney and to have this marriage dissolved. Fortunately, my parents were in Egypt. We hired a good lawyer. So, and when we called her up, the lawyer did. The lawyer told me, Amr, do not talk to this girl. I'm going to handle everything. Perfect. I actually hopped in a car, went to the Egyptian embassy. When I went to the Egyptian embassy, I went up to New York. I went all over the place. That way, I don't even think about what's happening. And when the lawyer called her up to serve her the divorce papers, she didn't want to sign the divorce papers. And she's the one who's like, either you do what I tell you. Let me tell you what happened. She saw my YouTube channel. Now, I told her about my YouTube channel early on, but when she saw that my YouTube channel was doing good, she said, "You either get rid of this YouTube channel, or we're gonna have a divorce." Boy, the minute she said that, I didn't hop on a plane. I rented a car and I drove directly to the Egyptian embassy because at that time I knew this is it. First of all, she's a horrible woman. Secondly, this is not, she's toxic. It's not going to get any better. Not to mention that one of her friends who I personally knew, okay, one of her friends, she was texting me and even texting my mother saying, "Hey, this girl is not who you think she is. She was sleeping. I mean, she was sleeping around for money. How do you think she's able to get an expensive car in Egypt? How do you think she's able to fly first class from Cairo to Dubai? The money this whole makeup thing, microblading, is simply a front for what she was really doing, which was prostitution." So obviously, at this point, we just had to nuke the relationship. It was totally, totally you cannot salvage it at all. So imagine if something like that happened here in America, man. I'd probably be, paying. I don't want to even think of what happened if that girl actually came to America.
Your situation would have gotten 10 times worse for sure. Well, here's the crazy thing though, Armor. Okay, your situation. You heard about a lot of red pill guy. They covered this. Did you hear about that Asian surgeon who's making $3 million a year? He found out his wife, Miss Connecticut, was secretly an escort before and during the entirety of their marriage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard about that guy, and he's a top 1% guy.
Top
This
one
is not
percent.
some. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He wasn't a scrub. He's not dusty. He's a top 1%er. Literally, he's a good looking dude,
Hmm.
making unbelievable money. I mean, he was a back surgeon. He's a back surgeon making $3 million a year. And this is the reason why I know that you have your things to say about guys like AMS and stuff, because everyone thinks that like money is gonna buy you like love and loyalty. It doesn't buy anything. When you're the side dude, one of the things I learned by being a lifelong side dude, Armor, I learned that
Hmm.
everything out there was a front, right? The commitment was a front. The pictures on Facebook when they're smiling with their kids and their husband, that's a front. When they introduce you to somebody and say, "Hey, Amr, this is my friend." No, he's not. That's not a friend. That's a dude who's blowing her back out, right? You start
Hmm.
learning about all these things. And I learned that being in the lifestyle. And I looked at myself, I'm like, everything I see is just an illusion, right? So when I see these guys marrying these girls going, "Well, she's Miss Connecticut and she's beautiful and she's a good girl," I'm looking at I'm like, yeah, about that. Because I look at what happened with you, with your marriage. I remember when you detailed it on your channel, something hit me. How many people warned you about this girl and her red flags while you knew her, right? Like when you first met her, you introduced her to the family. I'm assuming. How many people were like, "Yo, Armor, hold up, man. Do you know? Do you notice this? Did you see this?"
Yes, yes. It happened with two people I very much trust. I'm going to tell you who told me. Number one was the landlord for the restaurant. The restaurant I owned with my Egyptian cousin, who also turned out to be a narcissist, and that's a whole different story. The landlord, he took me to the side, and he actually took me and my father to the side before the wedding. He's like, "Hey, this girl over here, I would actually cancel the wedding and maybe postpone the engagement. But this girl, I hear a lot of bad things about her." He was person number one. Person number two was the Starbucks manager in Alexandria. Because when I go anywhere in the world, I go to Starbucks. I don't go to Starbucks anymore here in America because of Cameroon and they're a bunch of Nazis. But back in the day, man, I'm at Starbucks every day. Right now, I'm at a cafe here in small town USA. I used to go to Starbucks because of Camerona, there are a bunch of Nazis over there. I don't go there anymore. But when I was in Egypt, I was in Starbucks every day. Everybody knew who the hell Amr Mitwali was in Starbucks in Alexandria. And she came there a couple of times before, and the manager there, I can still remember his name, Edward, to this very day. Very, very good guy. He took me to the side, and he's like, I got a very, very bad feeling about this woman. So yeah, I did get a couple of people telling me this is not going to be good. And after we got divorced, a couple of my Egyptian friends were like, "Yo, Amr, we saw this coming before you got married to the girl, bro."
What was your reaction to that? Because you're always like, why don't you say nothing, right? Did you ask him that question? Like, 'cause so Amr, back in the day, you would always get this, right? Somebody would come up to you after the fact and be like this, "Hey, yo, bro, hey man, I want to tell you, hold up, dude. You knew she was banging for bucks? You knew she was an actual like when people know something about your girl, in the high school era, it was more or college era, it was more about she was a lying, cheating thought. She was getting ran through by the whole sports teams or whatever, right? Like that was usually the danger in those days. This is before social media. Now, because this is a more recent marriage that you had, the globalization and monetization of women is what really changed the game, right? They can get that attention from anywhere. They can get that money from anywhere, and that's how they get flown out. And Amr, can you describe? You talked about Dubai. I've talked about this, and as you know how it is, man. You live the same life I live. We're out there. You're doing your thing. I'm doing mine. Everyone calls you crazy, right? When you're out here telling people, "Oh no, man, the Dubai port-a-potty." I told girls this years ago, and they all called me crazy, right? I said, "No, they're getting flown out." And these Victoria's Secret models are on yachts, doing the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and people are, no, Amr, you're crazy. Drex, you're crazy. And I said, "Look, dude, I know because I know." You know when people ask you like, "Well, how do you know that? Show me the proof." It's like someone showing, asking someone to explain to you like how babies are born. You're like, I mean, look, I can give you all like the actual technical, biological babble, but it's like there you see the man, there you see the woman, you saw them go into that room, unprotected. Look, 9 months later, a baby came out, right? Like you can explain that, and someone's like, "I still don't believe it. I believe it. It comes from an alligator's egg or something." It's like, I don't know what to tell you then, right? And that's how I feel a lot of people are coming at this knowledge that we have, is that when you look back at your own marriage, right?
Yeah.
And with the red pill knowledge that you have, how do you view your marriage now as a fully red pilled man? Like when you think back and is there a certain way that you view yourself and the marriage?
Well, I was actually red pilled at the time. You have to keep in mind this was not even 3 years ago. So by that time, I was pretty much red pilled. And to answer your original question about how didn't other people tell you what was going on, and yet you were like, how come you didn't tell me until it was too late? This is the most nefarious story you probably will ever hear. I don't honestly know if you ever encountered something this evil, but who her friend was an old lady who is divorced. She was well into her 40s. She is the one who introduced us. She is the one who I remember. She
Oh,
brought her into my restaurant. She sat me down with her, and she's like, "You two are gonna get married." Okay. Now here's what happened. She had a my ex had a fallout with with her friend, with her older friend who was divorced well into her 40s. So what happened is that my ex, when she married me, she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to America, so fuck Egypt." She screwed over her friend in some sort of business deal, and that's when her friend who put us together was like, "Oh hell no!" And let me tell you something. My mother actually sat down with that friend of hers, that lady who got us together. She and my mother actually met together. And my mother is like, "Why you let my son marry this Sharmuta?" And she's like, "Well, she was a bad girl. She had a checkered past. Your son is a nice guy. He knows God. He prays. So I was hoping that the goodness of your son would rub off on her."
wow. I mean, that's basically a setup, man. Like
Yeah.
that's literally the definition of a setup. And So, Amar, the reason why I asked you that question was because, Kevin Samuels in his whole Winter is Coming segment, he's talking about these females who are about to hit the wall or already at the wall or post wall. And I said, one of the problems I have with his message is in regards to marriage, even though he's been married and divorced twice. One of the problems I have is this. He's telling people, you don't need to be dating for, 2 and 3 years. Like, how long do you need to get to know somebody? Within X amount of time, you should be married. It's like, does Kevin Samuels fully understand what's going on out here today? Like, I know he's, 50, I think he's 52 years old. And I like his content, right? Like, it illustrates quite a bit about, the things that we're talking about. It basically put a lot of things we talk about mainstream. But the vetting process, right? Amr, think about all those guys out there like you, right? You pulled the plug. You've talked on your channel. I remember listening to you when you talked about a lot of guys, Middle Eastern guys, who basically they get the worst kind of cucking, and they're literally just a walking ATM to these women, and they work themselves to the bone because they didn't vet and they didn't pull the plug.
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, they actually go out and get married again. Let me tell you a story I just heard today from my mother. My mother was talking to one of her old friends back in Egypt, okay? There's this Egyptian guy. He's about my age, 40. He actually has the same name as me, Amr. He's not much to look at. He was married. He had 3 kids. And then his wife, at the age of 35, she divorced him so she can go ride the you-know-what. And
Yep.
then the idiot gets married again. And now this girl that he's married to, she not only wants him to like spend lavishly on her, but to spend lavishly on her mother too. So now this guy is taking care of his kids. He's paying some sort of allowance to the ex-wife, and now he's paying big money to the current wife and her mother. And the guy is working like a donkey. He's like, I make good money by Egyptian standards, but at the end of the month, I got nothing.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the things that you've talked about, I've talked about, which is most single guys have more money than their married counterparts. A lot of these conservatives like PragerU, they always talk about how, the married men make more money. I go, they make more money because they have to keep up with their wife's spending. And the national debt is, I think, what are we? We're past 20, probably about 28 trillion now for the national debt. A lot of consumer spending, the student loan debt is I believe it's 1.8 trillion for student loans, most of it held by women. And one of the things the reason why I bring this up is because, as you know, the economy is entirely tied to human behavior. So what you're witnessing right now is a lot of guys are out here, and you basically have this division, right? You have simps who are enabling these women, right, on OnlyFans, Snapchat Premium, whatever, right? Streetwalkers. And then you have the guys who are they checked out, right? They just like, yeah, we're out, we're done. So these things helped create the world we have now, right? This global economy of basically thoughtness, right? Because I'm sure you watched the Fresh and Fit podcast, and those women who are vapid creatures, right? They get on there and they're running their mouth about, I don't need no man. Oh, I make all my own money. I'm a businesswoman. It's like, you're just an OnlyFans thought. Like, I'm sure you saw there were 40 million new accounts created on OnlyFans between March and April last year when Scamarona hit, right? And I bring this up for one key purpose, Amr. You made comments, and I want you to talk about the illusion that these bitch-made simps have, right? In Africa, who think that they're going to go to Africa, the Middle East, or Asia to get these women. I want you to elaborate, especially with these Middle Eastern women, about their dual profiles on social media, their actual prostitution, getting butt blasted until they get married, and then they divorce, grape the husband, and then they start doing vag. Can you elaborate just on let's say the path of the hojabby? Can you elaborate on that?
And this is actually very, very important for everybody, especially Muslims and religious people. I don't care if you're Christian, Jew, Hindu, or whatever. In particular, this is very important for Muslims to understand what I am about to say. A lot of these women, they prey on you because they know that they can come to you, say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, I love Jesus, I love Muhammad, and you're gonna believe that these are good, wholesome women. Also, at the same time, the Islamic religion says a man's religion is not complete until he is married. So a lot of women, they get to hold this against a man, saying, "Hey, if you don't marry me, you're not being a good Muslim boy." Now, the Prophet Muhammad told us, "Al-yakhshana laysa minnana." Those who cheat us are not of us. So you have a lot of these gals out there. And I personally, when I was in Egypt, I knew so many women who get banged in the back door. That way they can say they're, still virgins. I knew this girl. She was 17 years old. She was 17 years old, and one of my friends was banging her from the back door.
Yep.
Tell him about the Mormon girls.
Oh yeah, Amr, Mormon girls and these Catholic schoolgirls are the most
Hmm.
notorious because when I first discovered your channel, I remember going, "Wait a minute, this all sounds eerily similar."
Yeah.
The behavior of these females, who do they remind me of? And then it hit me: Mormons and Catholics is everything
Hmm.
that the Hojabby does, doing it in the they do it at night. The secret profiles, a lot of these chicks what they have is okay, they have their regular profile, right? Let's say her name is Stacy Smith. Stacy Smith has a Facebook profile, right? With all of her people on there, right? You see her family, blah, blah, blah. Maybe she does or does not have a boyfriend, blah, 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 right? What
Hmm.
people don't know, and this is a pro tip for all you simps out there who think that you're just gonna go find her on Facebook and say, "Oh no, Drex, I prove that she's a good girl." Let me tell you guys a pro tip right now. Amr knows full well about Facebook groups. A Facebook group does not show in your girl's text threads or any of that. So let me give you an example of Facebook group. Backdoor Babes, Swirl Mountain. They have all these groups, right? That cater to certain needs, right? Like my friend actually was the admin of an interracial Facebook hookup page, right? And there's tons of these on Facebook. Even before Facebook dating launched last year. The reason why this is important is that all of this stuff is done. Yeah, Garfunkel and Oates, the loophole, right? All of this is done right underneath everybody else's noses, right? And Amr, you know this. You've talked about these Middle Eastern girls, and what ends up happening is, and my own mother saw this. My mom, I dropped her off at the airport. She said she saw these Somalian girls, right? And they have the traditional garb on. That they're wearing their the traditional garb. I forgot what it's not the burqa. What are they wearing? They're wearing the
Yeah, at our mosque. I know exactly what you're
yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
You know that traditional clothes they wear,
Oh,
right? The
the,
hijab. Yeah, yeah, they're wearing the hijab, right? So they're wearing all this stuff. They're smiling, they're kissing their family, and they're acting all demure and sweet. So my mom said that she happened to be, on that side of security, right?
uh-huh.
So when she gets on the other side of security, right? This is the side that the people who dropped you off can't see you. My mom
Yeah.
said, "Oh, man, I'm gonna get something to eat. Let me go use the bathroom real quick." Amr, my mom goes in the bathroom. She said she couldn't believe. She's sitting there washing her hands and stuff, looks over. Those same giggling, "Oh, I'm holier than thou" girls had taken off all of that hijab stuff and put on thought uniforms.
Dude,
And
that's
she went, "Oh," and she was shocked. She was
that's
shocked. I wasn't.
these.
So I mean, tell him, Amr. You talked about what happens in Egypt, right? Can you describe what goes down in Egypt right now with the prostitution and all these hojabbies?
The Arabia, the Gulf countries, because over there they have to dress the burqa and just like the Somali woman. Let me tell you something. When the plane takes off and it's officially out of Saudi airspace, these girls who wear a niqab, they wear, the full everything, they go into the laboratory, the bathroom on the plane. 5 minutes later, they come outside wearing a mini skirt so damn short that you can see their panties. Let me tell you something. When I was in Santa Monica a couple of years ago, man, this Saudi girl, she was thick, man. She was thick and juicy. This girl was wearing a mini skirt so damn tight that when she sits, I mean, you see it all hanging out, bro. And all day, these Arab guys, they would go in and they would exchange numbers with her. You know what? Let me tell you something. You probably this type of technology probably doesn't exist here in America, but they have it in Saudi Arabia. Let me tell you just how horny Arab women are for sex. Okay, in Saudi Arabia, man and woman cannot talk to one another. Okay, they cannot approach one another because customs and all that stuff. So they have a special type of technology in Saudi Arabia with their smartphones. So let's say a girl and a guy, they pass one another, they look each other in the eye, and they want to get together. So what they do is they hold up their smartphone, and then they have this technology. I think it's Bluetooth, where they can pretty much pick up the phone of this person, and that person can pick up their phone, and they can like exchange information just by walking past one another. And obviously, they go out, they meet somewhere else, long after their parents are asleep, and they have all the freaky deaky sex they want, man. So these Arab countries, they got technology we in America don't have.
Wow.
Well, I think that's NFC.
Yeah,
That's
maybe,
what
yeah.
that is.
That's beautiful. Because here's the thing, Amr, I want guys, I talked about this a few episodes back. I have a job to do, and it is to permanently eradicate hope from men. I don't want a single man on this earth to have blue pill hope. I want them to believe that it doesn't matter what girl is out there. She's going to try to go ahead and use that family court against you. She's out here getting ran through if she hasn't already, right? And too often what you see is it's kind of like what happened to you, right? Like you checked the boxes, right? Your ex-wife, she checked the boxes. Hey, she comes from a good family, blah, blah, blah. So you thought you were getting a winner, right? You thought you were getting a unicorn. And oh no, I'm out here to tell these guys, man. Yeah, okay. Is there a unicorn out there? He's like, there's not a unicorn. She could be your unicorn. I will admit that, right? Every now and then there's that guy that gets lucky and says, well, Amr, I got lucky. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be lucky forever, because she can always do the bait and switch like Aisha Curry did to Steph, right? Where she's Susie Homemaker and then Thanos snap. She wants to be a turbo thought, right? And you have no protection because, of course, that family court is waiting for you, right? And I bring this up because when we talk about female nature, and this goes into how I've discovered your channel, a long time, like I said, it was over 2 years ago. I was just, doing my thing. YouTube has little suggestions, right? A little suggestion here, a little suggestion there. And I see this big Arab guy, Egyptian guy sitting in a car. And I said, oh, who's this dude? I click. And you start in, what's up, men? And I'm like, oh, okay, who's this guy? What is he talking about? There was one video that forever turned me onto your channel. And I was going to the bank to do a money move, right? And you made a comment, I'm sure you remember the video, where you talked about hojabis, and you said, I'll never forget it. You said, for all of you, he goes, for all my brothers out there who think black women are the worst, you said they've got nothing on these Middle Eastern Arab women in terms of female nature, divorce, raping, hypergamy.
I would take a black woman over an Arab woman. That's how bad Arab women are. I'll take a German Shepherd over an Arab woman. At least with black women, you know where you stand with them.
True. That is true. Like, here's the thing. Here's what I used to always say, Amr. I used to say that black women are no different from any other woman. The difference is they're just the worst at hiding their nature. You see what I'm saying? Like, look, Becky is just as big of a thought as Keisha, right?
Yep.
So what's the difference? Well, Becky is better at hiding that she's a thought, right? The German Shepherd openly shows and says she's a thought with videos like WAP, whereas the white chick could be like, Britney Spears made it more suggestive, right? It wasn't in your face. It was very suggestive, right? I'm a slave for you, baby, one more time. You were like, is she? Isn't she? You didn't quite know, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the black chicks, they put it right in your face, right? They want to sit there and kind of let you know where they stand. So as crazy as they can be, they always let you, at least with black chicks, I will give them that. They will let you know where they stand and where you stand with them. Because when they talk about how they hate you, they may pull a gun out on you. They may try to chase you in a car. No matter what they do, at least you know in that moment, hey, I know she hates me. That's why if you've ever seen that show called Snapped, which is the ultimate black pill show, right? Do you ever notice if you watch Snap Armor, you don't really see too many black people on there, right? And the reason for that is because black women don't normally like plot against you. You see what I'm saying? Like in a fit of rage, they may call the cops on you, right? But they aren't like plotting like, oh, I'm gonna take out an extra insurance policy on him. I'm gonna poison his food for the next 2 years. White chicks are known to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about these Arabs, I'm like, I started thinking about the Arab chicks, and then I started talking to my people, right? White guys, but one of the things I've noticed about Arabs is, and this goes back to female hypergamy. When it comes to war, right? When a war breaks out, whoever the winner of that war is, the conquering tribe, the women of the losing tribe will simp harder for the men of the winning tribe, right? So if they are in a country, Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever, and they see Brad and Chad invade, right? And start slaughtering their people, rather than saying, they're killing our men. You know what they say, Amr? As you say, hey, baby.
Were actually, after Japan surrendered, and they were actually walking on shore from their boats or from wherever, they were going on shore. These Japanese women were running into the ocean with, saying, "Woo, boys, come and take me." And it's like, you Japanese hoe, this American GI 10 minutes ago killed your husband's bicycle seat, and now you're jumping on this GI's cock.
Absolutely. Well, my brother served a tour in Iraq, and he talked about that. He was like, yo, and of course, my brother said that his commanding officer warned them because, of course, these chicks can get you set up, right? They can get you set up and murked. But he also said, oh, yeah, they were fair game, bro. His year in Iraq, he said these hoe jabbies, they were fair game. And I bring that up because I've made this comment where I explain to people, and it's something that you have talked about on your channels, that women do not possess a soul, and they do not possess, there's a few things they don't possess besides a soul. They actually don't possess empathy, nor a soul, nor the ability to actually have like some form of honor or loyalty. They don't. Whoever wins, if a war broke out today and America got invaded and America lost, the same women who are talking about they love you will flip and get on their back for whoever the conqueror is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. This is throughout history. They don't possess the ability to love, right? Because what is love? Love ultimately is more about what you sacrifice, right? It's not about what you receive. If you say, Amr, man, this girl loves you, and then you say, okay, so can you show me how she loves you? She just keeps receiving all your resources, right? You're taking trips, that's receiving. You're giving her hugs and kisses, receiving. The D, receiving. But when you start asking, what does she sacrifice? Like, what is she really putting on the line for me? Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. It's no different than an alley cat, right? If you see an alley cat right now, and a person picks up the alley cat, feral animal, and they start feeding it, giving it a shelter, they project, right? They go like this, Amr, this cat loves me. Oh, that was my little kitty. And they're kissing it. No. The cat is being nice to you because you're providing something, right? If an intruder broke in, let's say a cat or a dog, if they did attack the intruder, it's not because they actually hate the intruder. The intruder is threatening their resource provider, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the intruder wins and you wind up in a pool of your own blood, and the intruder sits there for a day or two, and the cat is being, all of a sudden the intruder goes, all right, I'll start feeding you. That same cat will step over your dead carcass, right? Your corpse, and be cool with the intruder who killed you. That's female nature. In a nutshell, that's literally what it is. And it's such a big deal because there's so much you can learn about female nature. And I definitely want to give you the floor to talk about something that I've always wanted you to elaborate on. And that is, in every video, besides saying what's up, men, and bashing Yogi Obes, who deserves to be bashed, you always make another comment in your videos that always makes everyone, including myself, smile. And that is, while I was driving cab in LA. Can you elaborate on your, we'll call this the Amr's Taxi Cab Confessions. You remember that show. So go ahead and let people know what all the things that you learned while driving a cab in LA.
I'm going to tell you the top most things that you have to keep in mind. Number one, you have to keep in mind, I drove cab about 10 years ago. That was before Tinder became a thing, before Uber became a thing. So all these thoughts were coming to taxi. So one of the top things I've learned about these thoughts is that they always have multiple men for different things, and they don't have you saved under your name. Okay, so let's say you're Ken, you're the guy who's gonna take her out to eat. You're not Ken. You're gonna be the food guy. Let's say you are the guy who's gonna give her cab money. You're gonna be the cab money guy. Every girl at least has 4 or 5 guys out there that are there to provide for her with nothing in return other than thank you. I knew this one girl. I'm gonna call her Vicky, okay? Vicky was a cute little blonde. She had sandy blonde hair. She was cute, kind of an airhead, and she worked on Hollywood Boulevard. Now, I'm sure you guys heard of Hollywood tours where they put you on a bus and then they give you tours of Tom Cruise's mansion and all that BS. So, Vicky, she was working for one of those companies on Hollywood Boulevard, and her job was to go out and promote the company to all these tourists. Now, what she would do is that she would systematically go after the business guys because a lot of guys who come to LA on business, and I saw this because I drove cab. I knew where these people were going, man. These people would come out from LAX. They would go to their hotel. For example, I would take them from LAX to Sheraton or Hilton in San Fernando Valley. Then a couple of hours later, I come back. I take them to the strip joint. Maybe I take them to Spearmint Rhino, stuff like that, Deja Vu. So a lot of these guys who come to LA on business, they want to have an affair because their wife is nagging them and not giving them any. Not to mention, she's probably fat and ugly. So Vicky, and a lot of women are like Vicky. They would actually find these guys and they would probably charge them a couple of $100 a night. I remember I had this one Latina girl. She was educated. She was working as a paralegal, and I was taking her to a hotel, and she told me, Amr, for $400 or $500 a night, I can just go out with a guy, have dinner with him at a fancy hotel restaurant. We don't even have to do anything in the bedroom, and he just wants to be with me for $400 or $500 a night. And the thing is, these hotels are in on it, like the Sheraton.
Yep.
If you go up to the concierge and be like, "Yo, man, do you have a Rolodex of girls that I can spend the night with?" and flip him a good, 40, $50? Oh yeah, oh
Yep.
yeah.
Their hotel
So
property.
yeah,
And Amr, let me interject 1 second.
yep.
When I first met, there's another big YouTuber out here. If you know, you would definitely know him being out in California. The Fresh Out series, right? My man Big Herc, Big Herc 916, right?
Yeah.
When I first met Big Herc, this was in 2000. This must have been about 2009, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I will never forget this man. I met this man. We had linked up online to go ahead and do some cheek busting down in San Diego, right? So when he came to pick me up from, he was living in North Hollywood at the time. So I know exactly where you're talking about around LAX. I flew into LAX. I'll never forget this, man. I was staying at the Hilton. You know where the downtown Hilton is in LA, right? Not far from the airport. It's within minutes. And I'm sitting there. I can't make this up, Amr. The pimps and hoes were coming through, working with the desk clerks. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw the pimp. I saw the women come down. There were women going in. They were dropping off the money. Guys were going up to the front desk. I saw it all go down. I saw the Johns. The whole exchange was going down. The hotels are in on it.
To keep the client happy, and yeah, why not?
Yep. Look, I don't blame them. Look, I don't have a horse in the fight, man. I really don't, because Big Herc told me about that because, of course, he was in the industry also. And he told me about how dirty the game is, right? And when I would listen to your stories about driving a cab in LA, and you talked about how businesswomen and housewives, Susie Homemaker, was getting her back blown out by a literal bum. She literally took a bum off the street, brought him to the hotel in your cab to take a shower, and got ran through.
Oh yeah, that was the second story I wanted to bring up. For example, in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd get a call because I worked out of North Hollywood. I would go to like a Toluca Lake house, nice house, half a million, maybe $1 million, 2 cars, kids, everything. You pick up the husband at like 6, 7 in the morning. Bye, honey. I love you. I take him to Burbank Airport. He's gonna do some business wherever. And on the way back, I pick up, fucking Tyrone, who was sitting outside the freaking, an alcohol store, sitting on one of those crates, getting drunk at 7 in the morning. And I would take him back to the house of that cute white girl, with the 3 kids who were going off to school.
Amr, this is why I love you, man. When I would listen to your videos, I always viewed you as like my kindred spirit because I had known all this stuff for years, right? Because you remember what I told you, I'm the side dude. I'm the dude who's been in all these scenarios, right? Like obviously I just wasn't a bum, but like I've been in all these scenarios, right? When she's like, "Oh yeah, my husband's going on a fishing
Let
trip,
me
a
ask
golf
you this
trip,
question.
whatever."
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Let me ask this question. I'm gonna say, and I've been decided once or twice, not that many. I'm not a Chad. I'm not a Tyrone by any means. I would venture to say the best sex you'll ever have is when you're the side dude.
It's the
Agree or
best.
disagree?
2000% agree. Amr, let me
Mm.
ask you this: when a girl got back into your cab after a night, right? Let me ask you this:
Mhm.
did she ever once detail what she was doing in there? Like the actual act itself, the actual sexual acts itself. Did she ever like detail what she was doing?
When she talks to her friends, I mean, I get to hear a little bit of what they're doing, all the nasty stuff. Like she'll
Yep.
pick up some random guy, and she doesn't even know his name. Like, they just went into the bathroom and he banged her out in like 10 minutes, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. Here's the beauty of it. I've told guys about this myself because like I said, I've always been the guy on the other side. And that's
Mhm.
why, a lot of my rules came from, here's the thing. A lot of my relationship advice, I don't know if I ever expounded on this. A lot of my relationship advice that I give people comes from being the side dude. Because if someone asks, well, Drex, how do I, do X, Y, and Z? Or if a woman asks, but especially with the guys, I can tell them what makes a relationship deteriorate by being the side dude. Because guess what? Guess who gets the story of why she's cheating? It's the side dude, right?
Sure. Mhm.
So I have the playbook. Like that's why if a guy asks me, like when I tell you about these Facebook groups of, I know all this by being in my position, right? So I tell dudes, yo man, this is what you should look for. If she does X, Y, and Z, watch out because this is what it is. If she's going to a company party, but anything you could imagine, I've already seen it. I've seen. Look, Armor, I can't make this up, man. We have chicks out here. I was out in you've been to I'm trying to think. Okay, Fisherman's Wharf. What is that pier? I think it's called Pier. Is that 39? Is that what it's called in
Is
Northern
that
Cal?
oh yeah, that's Pier 33, I think. I've been
33.
there.
Yep. I've been there, right? So
Mhm.
one of the guests on the show that we had on here, Miss 007, that's where I met up with her at for her first threesome. Right
Mhm.
after her first threesome, right? Because now she never had black guys, so now that's all she does, right?
Yeah.
Another white lady, one all black. She wants the BBC. Next thing I know, I'm not joking, man. Armor. Right after that, right? She just
Yeah.
went buck wild. She sends me the text. She took on the whole team. Didn't know any names and anything. Still married, right? Still married. And I tell
Mhm.
these guys, I said, when you're the side dude, you get the best. Armor. They do everything.
Mhm.
Because here's what I got from married guys, Armor. Drex, it's so terrible being married, bro. I mean, you don't get the sex, and she's always tired. She has a headache. Her tummy aches. The kids made her. It's always an excuse, right?
Mhm.
I want you to imagine being in the polar opposite boat, where I'm looking at these guys going, "Huh, Amr." When I tell you they do everything, I want you to think of anything you could think of, right? Oh, Amr, surely she's not into, and then just insert something that you can think of, right? Wrong. She's down for whatever with the side. The side dude gets the best of the best. Here, let me explain this. I had my girl on here. J Love was on here, right? And we talked about this. And especially for the side dude, one of the things that people don't understand is this: the women, right? The women show up not in a moo not in Crocs, Not in what are some of the things that these women wear now? Sweatpants and all that, with puke stains on them from the baby or something. Amr, they show up with their lasered off, they're waxed off, lingerie, high heels. They look. Amr, you want to bring out the cuffs? You want to bring out the leash and collar? You want to bring out the oils? They are look, and they bring their friends. I don't know if you know about this. When they're telling their girlfriends, Amr, this is what the side dude has. Side dude has the ability to do what he does with the chick, and then she tells her friends and goes, "You got to meet my friend." Let me ask you this, Amr. Driving in LA, did you ever have women who were married who brought their girlfriends along for the ride?
I mean, one was white, one was black. No, I'm sorry. One was white, one was Asian. I mean, they were probably well into their late 30s, maybe early 40s. Yeah, they got their mini skirts on, they got their hair done, they got their makeup. I took them from one of the, I think either Hilton or Sheraton, and I was taking them to one of those bars down on Ventura Boulevard, and the ladies were like, "We're just a bunch of cougars looking for dick tonight."
Oh
Flat
yeah.
out like that.
Yep. Oh, and they get it. Here's the thing: when it comes to the young guys, right? Like especially those guys who are in college or fresh out of school. What ends up happening with them is they go like this: Who's the easiest one to get? It's not a girl your age, right? If you're a 24-year-old guy, you know what 24-year-old girls are like, Amr. They're flaky. They act weird. They're slow to return a text every night. We're talking about with most guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cougars are insatiable. And do you know why? It's because their time becomes a resource, right? Texting you all day doesn't make much sense to a woman who's cheating and married, right?
Absolutely.
Flaking doesn't make sense if she's only going to be free for this gap of time. So she's like, hey, this is the time I got. Come through, and it's whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amr, do you know what one of the most disheartening things that happened to me is when I spent years in this position and I came back to tell other guys, right? I truly, I kid you not, I talked about this on Nick's channel. I believed I was Prometheus, right? This is before like red pill channels were really a thing because I got it into life in 2005, right? And when I came back to tell people the truth, I was like, yo, man, this is what's really going on with these hotels. I literally gave out the whole blueprint, right? Of how these girls were cheating, what was going down. I thought all the guys of the world were going to be like happy with me. Like, oh my God, Drex, thank you for telling us all. My girl's doing when she says she's going to do X, Y, and Z, right? When she claims that she has to go get her hair and nails done, she's not getting her hair and nails done for you, right? She's not getting it done for you. So I was telling guys this. I was like, look, dude, this is what's really happening. Amr, these guys got mad at me. I had guys wanting to fight me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, you do know that I'm telling you the truth, right? Like, dude,
yeah.
Your little Susie homemaker is not what you think she is. And her friends are doing what, Amr? They are covering for her behavior, right?
Oh, 110%.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Let me ask you that. Yeah, what do you think about the covering for the behavior of this thought culture?
Wow, let me tell you something that started in when Scamarona started. When Scamarona started, these Saudi women, these Arab women, Arab men for the most part are blue-pilled, and with the exception of Saddam, the vast majority of Arab men out there are probably 5 or less. Compared differently to American men and European men, the average Arab is like sub 5. So when Scamarona started, these girls who were married, they were calling into all these religious shows, all these sheikhs, all these muftis, and they were begging the religious scholar to tell their husband, don't have sex with your wife because she doesn't want to get Scamarona.
No, what?
They were begging the religious leaders to make a fatwa that their husbands don't have sex with them so they don't get Scamarona.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
I am, dude. I heard the woman in Arabic begging a mufti to have her husband not have sex with her because she didn't want to catch Scamarona.
Oh my God. Dude, that's next level. That's almost as bad as, I mean, Amr, I'm sure you're fully aware of the degeneracy that is known as the Black Church. And it just simps for ratchet German Shepherd single moms, right? That's all it does. Women can do no wrong. The black woman is God. Blah 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 blah. And one of the things that is very prevalent in the black church is making sure that men are demonized, right?
Yeah.
It's these men. The reason why you're a single mom with 4 kids by 3 men is because the black man has failed you. He's useless. He's good for nothing. Even though Kevin Samuels just came out and put up a post that shows the majority of black men are not in poverty, right? This is a common misconception. And I explained to him, I said, look, and this goes back to your point, Amr, they choose deadbeats, right?
Oh yeah.
They choose them. Like Amr, you've been out in LA. You know what California's like. There are lots of guys out there who make decent money, who are decent guys, coast to coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who is the man that they choose to do all the nasty stuff with and hop in your cab when you were driving to LA? It wasn't the guy who was a good guy. What kind of guys are they getting with?
Oh God, drunkard, homeless Chad, homeless Tyrone, the thug, the guy, so many black guys in North Hollywood were slaying all these white women, man, and they're all a bunch of, they're not thugs, they're like Pookie and Rere and stuff like that, man. They're going after degenerates, quite frankly.
Oh yeah. Here's the beauty of it is when you talked about these experiences driving the cab, I had seen it with my own eyes. Like I've seen the kinds of Pookies and Ray Rays that these women get with, especially white women. Because here's what I learned a long time ago, Amr. Women always are going to tend to be, and this is just people in general, but especially the women, they tend to be attracted to something that is either taboo or what is not normal to them. So what ends up happening is you're going to have a lot of white women who are going to go hard for the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Asian women go hard for the BWC, right? Arab women, like Arab women put white men on a pedestal.
Oh yeah.
Huge pedestal, just like black women. Black women put white men on a pedestal, like because it's whoever is the opposite of you, right? That's a general rule of thumb. And when you talk about what happened was going on in Cairo, Egypt. You talked about your experience going to a Starbucks where I remember you said I want to say she was Asian, right? I think you said it was like an Asian girl. Maybe you were in California. You said there was an Asian girl on her laptop and Tyrone literally walked in and
that was in Orlando, yeah.
That was in Orlando. Okay, yeah. Can you tell that story so these guys understand the full context of how easy, because they believe I'm lying when I tell these guys how easy it is. I'm like, no, dude, literally, I've had chicks be like this. Yes, whatever you want to do, I'm game. And then we just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they think, oh, no, Drexel's making this up. Let them know what happened to you in Orlando.
I'm not gonna find them there. Here at the Beta Male Cafe where I go every day now, there's a young 19-year-old dude. He's fucking 6'5", good shape, blue eyes. He has shaggy hair, and this mother effer, he's here with 4 or 5 different women every day. He's banging all of them, and they all know that he's banging the other girl.
This is beautiful. You know why I love this? So I had this conversation when we had Kat on, right? And I said, Kat, one of the problems is this. Women, what they're doing is they're saying they want a good guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want a good guy. I want a guy who treats me nice. I want a guy who's romantic, blah, blah. And then you look at their actions, it's the polar opposite, right?
Oh, again, driving the cab in LA, I've seen guys knock the woman the fuck out. I told you this story many, many times. I was in North Hollywood. I dropped off this Mexican guy at like a Mexican nightclub up on Sepulveda. And when I was pulling away, there was this like Mexican, Chad or Mexican Miguel, whatever, tall guy. He's going into the nightclub with one girl, and then his baby mama was like fucking chasing after him, pushing him, stuff like that. He's like, I bet I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm with this girl now. And, she overdid it, and he knocked her the fuck out. I swear to you, I was like 100 feet away. I had the air conditioner on. My windows were up. I heard the punch connect, and that girl flew back like fucking 15 feet. If Mike Tyson got plugged by him, Mike Tyson would have been knocked the fuck out. That girl, she came back. When she got back up, guess what she did? She chased after her man and like hugged him and went in the nightclub with him.
That's right. And Amr, I bring that up because I've told people, man, I learned when I was growing up, I went to school in the cities early in life. Even though we lived in the burbs, I went to school in the inner city, and then I switched once we hit third grade. Right. By the time I hit middle school and then into high school, the biggest red pill that really hit me was once I became homecoming king. Right. And chicks were like, this is before you could slide into someone's DMs, right? So you got notes. You remember the days back when girls used to slide notes to each other? And I was getting notes and girls were saying stuff to me. I went, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I know that girl has a boyfriend. And then that was the first time I truly understood hypergamy in terms of social status, right? Because until you graduate high school, think about it. Girls can't go after you for your money because no one has any money, right? So you go after status, right? Oh, this guy's an athlete. He's a this. He's a that. He's a homecoming king. He's a valedictorians weren't getting anything. But what I ended up learning was the rules didn't apply to me. So when I ended up being, I want to say around 15 years later, Donald Trump makes those comments about, you're just grabbing by the pussy. You can just do whatever you want to him, right?
Yeah.
And people were all outraged. And I said, and people were like, Drex, how are you defending him? I said, because he's telling the truth. The rules don't apply to that top percent of guys. Like all this, like, I'll give you a prime example, Amr. Okay, you've heard of the doghouse, right? A lot of married guys wind up in the doghouse where their woman cuts them off from sexual access until they behave like a good boy and they can get off the couch, right?
Right.
Amr, do you know that there's only been 2 times in my life where I realized how and why the rules didn't affect me, and that whole myth of there's no sex in a relationship. It was my child's mom, and then when I was dealing with the younger sister of my good friend, right? They made it a point. They had to let it be known that, like, Drex, we didn't have sex yesterday. And Amr, I'm sitting there looking like, yeah, we were busy doing stuff, right? You know those days where you're just out and about, right? Like, you went here, you went there, you went to grab something to eat. Yeah. And before you know it, damn, it's 10:30. And you take a shower, you kind of lie down, you're like, I'm just a little tired. You literally didn't run around all day, right? Those kind of days do happen. They made it a point, and they started thinking like is something wrong? And I'm like, are you really overreacting that much? Look, one day, Amr, literally one night, right? The only night. And then it hit me. I was like, the rules don't apply to me. They would yell and scream or something. I would just like give them that look. I actually sent shout out to my girl Alley Cat herself, Miss NCAA. I sent her a DM I got from a particular woman that is very fond of me and to me, where she was basically saying like, Drex, you're crazy, you're an asshole, you're blah blah blah, right? And then at the end though, Amr, what does it say? Give me that D, right? Yeah. Amr, the rules don't apply to the top guys. These simps haven't figured that out yet. And it's actually kind of pissing me off because the lessons that you learned, how do you think you can apply that? Like, how do you think, Amr, is the evolution of the red pill in terms of how can we get this message to these guys who refuse to believe it?
The psychology of why these guys cannot believe it. What if I told you I saw Bigfoot? You're not going to believe me if I told you I saw Bigfoot. These guys, because they never got the Chad drone treatment, they cannot believe it. I mean, they'd probably be better off believing in Bigfoot than believing in the Chad drone treatment. This is why I tell everybody on my channel, either we get the alpha male treatment from these hoes or we don't play at all.
Absolutely. Well, do you know who talked about that? I got to give Myron Gaines a shout out for that. He talked about that when he was sitting there with Diamond Sharp. He said, all these girls who are giving you guys problems right now, whatever girl you're dealing with, he goes, do you think they would give Drake, the rapper, that same attitude, right? Mm-hmm. Of course not, because they know they're replaceable, right?
Yep.
And, Amr, I was talking to Kat about this earlier, where one of the main reasons why I forever left relationships is that I got tired of being accused of cheating. I never cheated, but I was always being accused of cheating. And the reason I was getting accused of cheating was because the vast majority of people that I know and interact with happen to be female, right? Mm-hmm. And even before I absorbed red pill content, which would have been about, I want to say about 2017, maybe 18. Even before then, I had a basic nature in understanding the aspect of hypergamy, which is women are attracted to guys who have lots of options. And I would always keep women on their toes. I let them know up front, like, this is who I am. I have women in all these places I travel to. I'm choosing to be with you. So if you start acting weird on me, make no mistake, I can flip a switch, push a button, and I will be in another city in 2 hours flat. Right?
Yep.
And they fall in line. Look, Amr, chicks have raised their voice at me. Don't get me wrong. And do you know what happens every time that a girl has ever got stepped out of pocket and she really got out of pocket and talked crazy to me? They always come back apologizing, right?
Yep,
I hear from simps, they don't get that treatment, right?
Mm-mm.
And here's the thing, though, Amr, when they apologize, do you know what they apologize to me with?
Sex.
Salacious pictures. Yep,
Yeah.
salacious pictures. Take me to a swing club, whatever you want to do, babe. It's all this. They use their body to try to leverage, right? Now, given I'm so detached from it, like, in terms of emotionally because it's so normal to me, right? It's just if I want that, I can get it. It's kind of how you felt when you were in Vietnam, right? It took for you, it was that if you wanted it, it was right there. Because of that, it made it less valuable to you. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 110%, man. This is why I can go months without sex because, hey, I can get it anytime. I'm 6'3". I'm in good shape, man. TRT's doing miracles for me.
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to ask you about that. I actually had that in the comments or in my little questions for you. Can you describe what you think about the your own treatments with testosterone replacement and where do you see that going? Because Sylvester Stallone made those comments years ago when he was caught at the airport and everyone's like, oh, Stallone is juicing and blah, blah, blah. And you actually have a female doctor who prescribed him to you, if I recall in your videos. Can you describe the testosterone replacement theory, the TRT?
Yeah, I mean, on the stuff I'm doing it medically supervised, so I'm not doing the stuff Arnold Schwarzenegger is doing. The second thing is these are all optimal levels for me. Medically speaking, I have low T. So from a medical perspective, I really do need testosterone replacement therapy because my testosterone levels, even though I'm 40 years old, is lower than an 80-year-old man. So it's like having glasses. I mean, if you get glasses, is anybody gonna accuse you of like cheating to have like super duper eyesight? Absolutely not. Now regarding this lady, I go through a guy for my TRT, but the lady who happened to be the one who made the official prescription, she gave me half a cc, and of course I spent like 10 minutes, doing my research, and for somebody like me, I need a full cc. So I didn't argue with her. I didn't do anything with her. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call the guy tomorrow. And before I could call him, he called me up, profusely apologized, and said she had no idea what she's talking about. Half a cc is not gonna do jack squat for you. You need a full cc. So, like I said to guys, women at best are incompetent. At worst, they're purposely misleading you. This is why you don't want to go to female doctors or female anything.
Well, I've said, I had Becca the ass wreck on my show. She's the one that's out here pegging dudes. And I told her, I said, and Coach Ray Adams has agreed with this. He said it should be downright illegal for women to give advice. It should actually be illegal. And the reason why I brought that up is because
Islamically speaking, that's true. Islamically speaking, it's illegal for women to give advice. This is why this is why I'm rooting. It's the same thing in Judaism. Women are not even allowed to speak in Judaism when it comes to any sort of authority.
Can we invite the Taliban over to America?
Dude, I'm rooting for the Taliban at this point. At least they're keeping the woman and the homosexuals in check.
Better than here in the West. Think about it. I mean, okay, so over here, Amr, we got Desmond is amazing. We got trans kids. They want to put kids on hormones, blah, blah, blah. And you look in the East, what is the biggest differences you see? Because here's the thing. One of the things that I've noticed is that when I look at the guys who are Arab, right? I've worked with Arabs. One of my big beefs with them is that, and this is something that I feel that TFM has gotten wrong. TFM thinks that these guys have their pimp hand real strong. Some of them do, but what I've noticed is I think these Arab dudes are some of the biggest simps you'll find.
110%. I mean, let me tell you something. One of our friends, this guy, he's an Egyptian dude. He's younger than me by a couple of years. He's like fucking 5'7", and God forgive me for saying this, he looks like a monkey. And the reason why he looks like a monkey, because I remember, many, many years ago, we were at a park. It was during Eid. We were at a park in Fort Lauderdale, the whole Muslim community. He was riding around on a bicycle, and some white young white girl. She's like, "Mommy, mommy, there's a monkey riding a bicycle." So you can tell at 5'7", looking like a monkey, he's not a good-looking dude. He got married to an Egyptian woman, just like I did. He brought her to America. Now this mother effer is a fucking doctor, like a heart surgeon. Not a multimillionaire, but definitely making good money. So he brings her to America. She has 3 kids from him. We're gonna assume those are his kids.
Assume.
And yeah, and that's a big assume. So she divorce rapes him, takes the house, paying a ton of child support to her, and the mother effer goes out and he gets married to a Pakistani woman who happens to
Oh.
be a single mother.
Ah.
It's
Ah.
like, dude,
You
how
actually
can
pained me with that. Like, the reason why I say that is because, dude, I've been around these dudes, and
yeah,
here's what's funny: when you talk like that hardcore red pill, when you take that stance, one of the things I've noticed with Middle Eastern guys is that they are either all in with you, like, yep, we agree 100%,
yeah,
or they just go into full simp mode the way black dudes do, right? Like the black woman is God, she's a queen. And you're like looking like,
yeah.
what the hell?
Mhm.
Like, dude, these guys simp so hard. Like, Amr, what do you think is the solution to curing some of the symptoms, emphasis on simp, on a global scale? Because these women have shown their true colors, right? OnlyFans, TikTok, sugar baby, sugar daddy relationships, all this stuff. What is it that you think is like this thing that we're missing from these guys to make sure that they get the red pill? Because marriage rates are in the gutter, birth
Mhm.
rates are in the gutter, relationships between men and women are at an all-time low, and yet still there's still way too many simps. Like, what is your view on the solution for that?
All right, I'm going to tell you what riles up these Sims, and this is very true with Arab people, is that when you talk about women like we do, they get offended because they think you're talking about their mother and their sister.
Do they? Okay, let me
Now,
ask you this: Do they are
yeah,
they fully aware that their sisters are usually thots? Like modern day women, like you're not going to find too many virgins or good women out there. You're not going to find much, and I would even go so far as to say this. Amr, one of the things that really struck me post 9/11 when I kept hearing about one of the reasons why these guys were committing these acts was they get these virgins in their version of heaven or whatever, right? And Allah promised them this, or the Prophet Muhammad, whatever, right? And I'm listening to this. I'm like, so in a sense, these organizations are recruiting basically incels. And that's basically what they're recruiting. They're recruiting the undesirable guys to go commit these atrocious acts. What do you think about that?
for starters, the whole 9/11 being done by low IQ Arabs who learned how to take off and not land, it's totally, preposterous because there's a big difference. I flew one Cessna 172. There's a big difference between flying a Cessna 172 versus flying a jumbo jet full of people, full of fuel. These guys had absolutely no training on jumbo jets, and even if they did, flying through the New York City skyline and hitting the buildings in the perfect place, I mean, that's impossible. So I don't believe 9/11 was done by low IQ Arabs. But moving on to what you were saying, I do agree with you. Throughout human history, these jihad, these crusades, they were all about getting rid of the incels. Did you know that the crusades were about getting rid of incels? Did you know that?
No, I one of the things I did know about the Crusades was that they talk about undesirables. So I didn't really research what the undesirables were. You hear that term used throughout history, right? These undesirables. So I just took it at face value, like what my perception was. I just didn't know it was the incels.
I'm going to tell you what happened, what started the Crusades. When the Vikings were going through Europe, the Vikings were a major, major threat. So what the nobility of Europe did is that they had to hire all these young men to defend them from the big bad Vikings. Now, when the Viking threat subsidized, meaning the Vikings are no longer a threat, all these young guys, they were still marauding around town getting paid for nothing, and their nobles, the people, the rich people who hired them, they're like, well, we don't want to pay you anymore because there's no need to have you for protection. So guess what these young kids did? They started harassing the guys who were just paying them yesterday. So the nobility came in with the kings. They even met the Pope, and they're like, "What the hell do we do with all these young, single, virile men? They are a nuisance to us. What do we do? What do we do?" And that's when the Pope said, "I know exactly what to do. Send them to the Holy Land to save baby Jesus." And when the Crusaders finally took hold of the Holy Land, what did they do? They raped all the women.
Yep.
So here's the most harshest black pill everybody has to know. Throughout human history, for the vast majority of men, you either rape or you die trying to rape.
You see a lot of this manifest itself in the physical world in terms of, I've always said this, and I told this to TFM when I interviewed him. I said, TFM, everything that you see in society is a result of simping. And I've always maintained that racism, it boils down to the competition over the opposite sex and resources. That's why when, as a black guy, if someone sees me riding around in a very nice car, the reason why I'm getting these glares and the hate, and God forbid it's the cops, pulling you over for no reason. What is it? Oh, guess what it is? He's mad that a black guy's driving the car, and God forbid there's like an attractive white woman in there, right?
Oh yeah.
It's so that's all it is. There's a sense of entitlement and this whole this insecurity of why is this person there? And let's face it, if if anyone says like, oh no, that's not true, Drex, I want you to go to any club, obviously before Scamarona, right? So before the pandemic, if you had taken a girl to a club and it's occupied by only one ethnic group, right? So let's say you are Latino. If you're Latino and you bring one white girl to an all Latino club, are the girls going to like that girl?
Probably not.
Nope. So who's hating on her? Think about it. The guys don't hate on her, right? They're like, oh man, look, she's hot, right? So why are the girls hating this random white girl? She didn't say nothing to him, didn't do nothing to him, because she's taking away the attention, which means the resources of those men. That's all racism is in a nutshell. That's all it is. It's competition over resources and the opposite sex. So, Amr, when you talk about the Crusades and things, think about it. It goes back to the same thing. A lot of what we see right now in society, right? Me Too, feminist agenda. Where does all this come from? Simps can't compete against Chadrone, right? So do you know how you know what they do? They level the playing field by saying, we're going to create a beta male society that caters to women, gynocentrism, right?
Yeah.
We're going to simp our way into, think about it. Look at your senators, right? Yeah, woman. Yeah. And then they do anything that these women tell them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they still don't get the result they wanted, right? Because none of them are Chad. Look, do you remember when they really didn't like Bill Clinton? The main reason why they didn't like Bill Clinton is because he got women.
Yes, he did.
You remember that? What is his name to all of us? Slick Willie, right?
Yeah.
My dad is from Arkansas, and I remember when Slick Willie was governor, right? And when he was coming up the ranks with that dog face Hillary. And the thing that really caught me off guard was, I remember at that time, Republicans really didn't like him. Like they were like over the top with Bill Clinton. I'm kind of like, and, as a kid, even though I didn't fully understand what was happening, I did notice Bill Clinton was better looking than all of his competition, right? Yeah. Newt Gingrich, all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wait a minute. You know how it is, Amr, when you're a kid, you haven't worked out all the angles, but something about the optics of it makes sense to you. You're like, okay, Bill Clinton is a handsome guy. He's playing a saxophone with shades on. He's charismatic. And then something hits you. You're like, wait a minute. The people that are always going after him the most look the opposite of Bill Clinton, right? They don't look handsome. They aren't sexy. Women don't find them attractive. Like, they don't have an intern like Monica Lewinsky giving them sloppy toppy, right? Newt Gingrich would have to pay to get Monica Lewinsky to do sloppy toppy. And then it hit me. I was like, so this is what it's about. And then I went going to school. Think about it, Amr. When you're going out living your life, who hates on you the most? I would argue it's males, right?
Absolutely.
And what are they hating? What are they hating about you? What are they hating on you for?
I'm over 6 feet.
Yep. You're getting attention from the girls they wish they had attention from, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And so think about it. Because of that, these guys will create a law to basically, it's kind of like in a video game, right? When you play video games and they have patches, right? And you see the patch notes. They took away this character's initial dash speed. They nerfed this guy's whatever, right? His strong punch or something.
Yeah.
And then this guy, you go like this. So what about this character, Armor? Oh, we buffed him. Why? Oh, I see what's going. And that's when it starts to hit you. Because that's the character that they like, right? Like, oh, I like this character. I don't like that I keep losing to this guy. So I'm going to nerf this guy that's my competition and buff my guy. And then when they still start losing, they try to nerf the other guy some more, right? Rather than get better. And that's what you're seeing in society as a whole. What society is doing as a whole, which is what cultural Marxism is they're basically saying this. Amr, we can't compete with you. You started the Migtown TV. You started all these things. You're doing your thing. You're in the car. Susan doesn't like it. You're spitting real red pill knowledge. We need to nerf you, and we're going to silence you by calling it hate speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing about it. Is that not the same thing? Look, resources and the opposite sex. The guys who are getting the most views right now, let's call it the manosphere, right? The guys getting the most views in the manosphere, Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, right?
Yeah.
Guys like that. Joker of Better Bachelor, shout out to him too, but he's much more focused toward the guys. Whereas
They actually censoring Joker right now. In fact,
yeah.
Have you heard of Manosphere TV? That's the website I'm working on right now. That's going to be like the big league. In
Nice.
fact, I have you. Yeah, in fact, I already have you guys on Manosphere.tv. I already got your whole catalog and everything. I actually backed up all of Better Bachelor's channel, and I've been in talks with Better Bachelor for him to come over and actually do live streams with us.
Oh, that'd be great. I've always liked Joker. I remember when he first started his channel.
we gotta get Joker on the show, don't we?
Yeah, Joker's great because I remember when he went on Fresh and Fit. One of the things I like about Joker is that when he went on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes on Fresh and Fit around these horrible IG thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And I think it really proved what guys like me, you, other guys have always said, which is the things that guys like Alpha Male Strategies always talks about. That, you need all this game. I go, look, at the end of the day, either you're attractive to women or you're not.
Yeah.
Learning game that stuff doesn't matter, man. That stuff's stupid.
So,
It doesn't really work.
Speaking of future play, did Amr, did RGE reach out to you? I sent him your message.
No, he didn't. I don't think he did. Did he? Because I get a lot of emails. I check them every day, but I don't think so.
Grimlord has some questions for you. You know Grimlord. Grimlord.
Oh
Games and
yes,
Rant.
yeah.
He's got a question. He says, are you going to shut down Migtown.tv and just go to Manosphere? Does he need to move?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because we need testing and experimentation. Because when you go from one site to another, you need a site where you update the code, where you test new stuff on. And both sites really don't cost us anything because they have the same server, same this, same that.
They're just virtuals, right?
Yeah,
machines spun up on a single hardware.
Yeah, well, it's actually a dedicated server. In fact, today we just moved. We have a total of 10 terabytes of videos, 2 terabytes on Manosphere TV, 8 terabytes on Migtown TV. It took us a couple of days, but we moved 10 terabytes of data from our CDN in the cloud. We moved it to our own dedicated server. Right now, we are running our own dedicated servers. That way, we are not worried about getting deplatformed.
Yeah. Also, Grim asks, what kind of content do you not want? I think you've explained this to me before. It's basically don't break the law and no like hardcore porn.
Yeah, exactly. I know he does some of that softcore hentai stuff. That's totally fine as long as it's not like sexual. As long as it's not a porno. If it belongs on Pornhub, that's one thing. But as long as it's not like full out porno, that's fine. It has to have if he has a story behind it, if he's making a point, something like that. But don't upload stuff that's purely homosexual.
Oh, did you hear what happened to Ken Jennings?
No, what happened?
Okay, so Ken was we did a debate stream with Dollhouse Phil. You know Phil, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we were debating on child dolls, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, Ken got done real dirty. He got he got Karen'd out of a job.
Ooh. What
All
happened?
because he was trying to cover a case, and apparently one of the defendants in that case, or I guess one of the litigants in the case, didn't take too kindly to that. But he got done real dirty.
Par for the course.
Yeah, this is why I don't have a real job, man. I don't work for anybody. In fact, I pride on myself on never having a full-time job in 21 years of working.
Oh.
Can't fire me from anything, you know? I mean, where are you going to fire me from? Migtown TV, I own it. Where are you going to fire me from?
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I've been out on vacation for the last month, but I promise we'll be doing a lot more stuff with both sites once I'm back.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to turn it into like live streaming. I mean, live streaming. I mean, look at TFM's live stream. You know, live streaming is very, very profitable, not just for us, but also for you guys. You know, we take 10% plus 30 cents. So if you get like $10, you go home with $8.70. And I pay out in a matter of days because right now, we have a wallet. So people have to load money in their wallet through PayPal or through credit cards because, you know, in case we get deplatformed, I can tell people no problem. Pay me in crypto. You know, we put the money in your wallet, and then that money in your wallet, you can, you know, do anything with it on Migtown TV or Manosphere.tv. And since the money is already there, we can pay content creators out even quicker.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, you heard about our struggles with YouTube, right? Oh god,
Yeah.
it's such bullshit. We
Yeah,
actually
I'm
have,
working
like,
on it. I got to smash Susan. I mean, I'm taking one for the team for real, man. When I get to NorCal,
we've got like $30 on our Migtown.tv wallet, I think. I haven't done anything with it.
To super chat, you can use it to pretty much do anything with it. Is that your wallet or is that your balance?
Uh uh
Wallet
I'm
is
not
money you
sure.
put in there. Balance is money that you made.
Balance. It was balance. So it was
Oh,
super chats that came to us.
oh, okay, $30. Yes, I can have that. Do you have your PayPal address in there, or you can send it to me?
About that.
Yeah, you can send it to me. Yeah, send me your PayPal. You have PayPal or no? It doesn't have to be PayPal.
We do have PayPal, yes. Drex, our Skrill account got fucking nuked.
say what?
Oh,
Yeah, we use Skrill for Subscribestar, and you remember I told you to take the pictures of your license?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, nope, picture's too blurry. Fuck you.
Wow.
They got $300 of us tied up.
Wow.
damn.
So
Unreal.
I'll have to get you to redo those pictures, but maybe with a proper camera.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I'm not
Yeah,
shocked at all about this.
I never thought that Skrill would screw us over.
I'm not surprised by anything anymore. You know, when it comes to big tech censorship and all that, you know, Amr, one of the things I've noticed is that, you know, I mean, let's face it, the nature of gynocentrism is to have double standards, right? Because women's whole lives is basically based on double standard. And the reason for that is because if you were to look at Kohlberg's 6 stages of moral development, women they don't advance beyond the 3rd stage, which is care-based morality. They don't ever evolve beyond that, right? So that's why they live in double standards. They go like this. Okay, so Amr, if I represent your modern woman, I can get on stage, bash a bunch of men, and that's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Free speech. The moment a guy says one thing about women, whether it be Kevin Samuels, whether it be you, me, whoever, right? We just point
TFM.
something out. TFM. They go like this. Oh, this is hate speech. It's like, wait a minute. Well, see, they don't have justice-based morality. So, this is the same way a child thinks. That's why a child can go do something, and it's perfectly okay if they go and steal, do this, that, and the other, because it benefited them. But as soon as you point out, oh, well, hold on, This is wrong because of these reasons. And if I do the same thing to you, they go, oh, no, that's wrong. You're not allowed to hurt me. I'm allowed to hurt you. And you see this with what's going on with all this big tech censorship, where, I mean, look at it. TFM has been booted off everything based on what is it that he said that's so evil?
Nothing. I mean, I listened to all his live streams, all his videos. Other than saying, take women's rights away. I mean, he's pretty much calling out women for what they really are, with the ultimate solution, which is take women's rights away. Duh, that's what Islam has been telling us for 1400 years.
Yep. Well, the beauty of it is that here's the thing. If you could, and I've always told TFM this. TFM, it doesn't matter at this point anyway. And I want your take on this. Amr, let's just say for the sake of argument. Women lost voting rights tonight, right? Boom. So then tomorrow when you wake up, women don't have the right to vote. What I told TFM is that wouldn't matter anyway because of the simps. The simps. Because that would become the new currency for a simp, right? Like, I don't have to give her money for OnlyFans. I just have to do whatever she tells me to do in terms of laws, right? To get social credit or to get my pee-pee touched. It's already too late. When I talked to Kat the other day, I told her, I said, Kat, it's over. All of it is over.
She's actually listening right now.
Oh, yeah, I see her in there. And I told her this because I said the problem goes that deep, right? The problem goes so deep that, like, once you get to the core of it, it's over. Because you can't fix it. Like, if someone says, hey, Amr, let's say you're playing football, right? And someone is telling you what to do to beat the team, right? To beat your opponent. And you just refuse to listen as the head coach. No, we're going to do it my way. And you're down 3 points, 7 points, 10 points, 22 points. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're down by, say, 30 points, right? Okay. And it's the middle of the third quarter. And this is similar to what happened with the New England Patriots, right? When they were in that Super Bowl against the Falcons, they were down. It was 23 with only a few minutes left, right? And they adjusted their strategy and they ended up winning the Super Bowl in overtime, right? But if you don't adjust, which is where we're at now, right? We don't have a Belichick. So what ends up happening, Amr, is imagine if you waited to the very last minute to listen to the person who's in your ear telling you what you need to do to win, right? And then you listen to them. Let's say you're in the middle of the fourth quarter now, right? And you start mounting a comeback. The reason you're going to lose is because you don't have enough time, right? Like you have to have enough time to mount a full comeback, right? Okay. Well, we're at this point now where, I mean, think about it, Amr, me, you, TFM, Tim. There's lots of content creators who are fully aware of the problem. We're fully aware of the solutions to the problem, right? It all starts in the family, right? Nuclear family is where once you break up the nuclear family, it's already too late. Once you give women voting rights, it's already too late. Once you prop up single moms, all that it's already too late. So we're already at that. But pedophilia is going to be the next thing that's going to be legalized. Like prostitution first, right? Prostitution first, bestiality second, and then pedophilia third, in that exact order. And Amr, I wanted your take on the fact that New York and California has already legalized prostitution. What do you think about the next economy bubble, which is going to be the prostitution bubble?
What's next, and they're moving way too quick, is that there's going to be a major collapse. At this point, like you said, it's too late. This is why I'm not anti the vaccine, because that vaccine is probably going to kill off a lot of people. And I know this is going to be a little bit on the religious side. Sometimes Satan and God work together to take down humanity. And the reason behind it is that Satan knows that God is supreme. We as human beings, we don't know that, but Satan does. So God is like, hey, Satan, why don't you go have fun with these idiots over there? So right now, what you need to do is that I give up on America, the West as a whole. I just gave up right now. I'm actually gonna junk my car tomorrow. I have a Mercedes-Benz S430. It went bad because the fuses went bad due to a rain, and I didn't put up the window. I'm not even gonna bother fix it. I'm just gonna call up a junkyard company. Here, give me a couple of $100 for it. I'm gonna put it in a ticket and I'm gonna go live, in Eastern Europe because it's over for the West, man. If you got the money, leave the West right now because a lot of people have to be exterminated because, like you said, Drexel, even if women's rights were taken away right now, you got the simps who are gonna be by proxy doing the female dirty job. And like TFM said, women are amazing, women are beautiful. It's a damn simp that have to be exterminated. In Islam, it tells us there's going to be 50 women to be led by one man. Christianity says, 7 women are going to be married to one man. So obviously, we can tell that there will be a lot of simps out there who will die. Maybe the vaccine is going to kill off all the men. Maybe there's going to be a big war where all the men are going to be called into action. Whatever the case is, you don't want to be in the West. You want to be high up in the mountains, away from it all. Believe it or not, the best place to be is either in Afghanistan with the Taliban or be in Eastern Europe with the Orthodox Christians. Those are the two places you should be. And like I mentioned, tomorrow I'm getting rid of my Mercedes Benz. That money is going to go to a plane ticket, and God willing, by the end of the month, I'll be going off to Eastern Europe, man, because this country is going to hell in a handbasket, and you don't want to be here when it happens.
I agree completely. My plan is to get to South America is the goal. I'm on a 10-year plan. I just need this country to literally like limp along until I'm ready to go. Right? Like, I mean, it's what a lot of people do. It's just like when someone works at whatever job and they punch a clock every day, right? In their mind, they're like, I just need this thing to hold on until I get to this point, right? And I mean, Amr, the West is done, but one of the things that I think that doesn't get talked about enough is that here's the thing, the agenda, right? When you go to these UN agendas, Agenda 21, 22, you start looking at,
2030.
yep, what they're going to do with housing, what they're going to like all of this has been done by design, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I say is this: eventually, the totalitarian globalists are going to have a point where there won't be anywhere to hide, right? There won't so the Matrix will literally encompass the entire world. So like whereas before you could say, well, I'll escape to country X, right? Or city
Yeah.
X. I truly believe this, Amr. We're going to see it in our lifetime. Like there won't be anywhere to leave to. There'll just be places that are less bad than others, right? Like,
Mhm.
one of the things that you noticed, and I'm sure that it alarmed you, was that when the Scamarona first happened, and they were talking about a coin shortage, right?
Yeah.
There was no coin shortage.
Of course
The,
not.
the only purpose of the quote unquote coin shortage was to eradicate fiat currency so that the government can track every single transaction that happens. So there's like crypto will be the new law of the land in terms of our currency, right? Like
Yeah.
everything is going to be a scan, right? You go to the store right now. You could scan your Google Wallet, you could scan your what was it, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, whatever. They're using the phone to do it, right? And that's why the Obama era they had Obama phones, right? One of the things that will come to be is that the government's eventually going to get to a point where they're going to issue everybody a phone. Doesn't matter what age you are, everyone's going to have a phone, and that
Mhm.
phone is going to have how you carry your money, right? Which is going to be
Correct.
allotted to a. Think about it. If you look at your bank account, right, it says you have X amount of dollars in it. But if everybody went to the bank right now and asked them for their money, the bank wouldn't have their money, right?
Mhm.
Because they don't have money. All it is just a number. It's just a number of basically a number of credits. And it's going to go a step further and be like what happened in China. The only problem is we're going to get to that point of social credit. And I can see that happening in the West within the next decade of social credit. Like, what do you think about that in terms of them saying like, oh, no, Amr, you can't leave the country because you have wrong think.
Oh no, they're probably gonna do that before that. I mean, what happens if they say, "Oh well, you can't leave the country unless you're vaccinated"? I mean, my getaway plan. Here's the thing. I mean, worst case scenario. I live next to a small airport. There's a lot of students here who fly planes. If I have to bribe someone, $500-600, take me to Mexico. Because here's the thing, you can sneak into Mexico. I've been to Mexico multiple times during Scamarona. You just walk on in, walk on out, man. Nobody cares. So worst case scenario, you go to Mexico, hop on a plane from there, and leave. This is why I want to leave America by the end of the month because Biden is doing a lot of damage in TFM says 5 years. Oh no 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 no. We'd be lucky if we have 5 more months until something bad happens. And the whole manosphere, Migtown community, you guys gotta come together and get your hands on a private jet. All these people, all these elite people, they have access to private jets. That's the only way you'll be able to get around when shit hits the fan. So, MGTOW, Manosphere, come together, get your hands on a freaking private jet because that's the only way you'll be able to save yourself. Because we have to understand all these Camarona laws and rules and regulations, it's all to get rid of the average Joe Small. They want
Yep.
to get. It's not for the elitists. It's for the retarded goyim, like I call them, or the dipshit normies, like TFM calls them. You and I cannot be in the same boat as the typical blue pill, simp, Shaniqua, Shinani, the people who sell the ladies who sell themselves on OnlyFans. We can't go down like that.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're starting to really see this now, right? Where not just with the travel restrictions and everything, they're doing a lot of things in different ways, right? Like, so all they're doing is that they're just taking away your freedoms one by one, and I view it as an abusive relationship, right? If
Hmm.
so I want you to think about this, Armor. I want you to go up to a battered man or a battered woman, right? And then ask them this question. If they were to hop in, like, some, like, crystal ball, right? Some little
Hmm.
space-time continuum. If you were to show them after, let's say let's say it's like their third or fourth date, right? It's a good relationship, everything's good. And let's say you pull them aside and say, hey, I want you to look into this crystal ball at your future, right? And if they looked in the crystal ball and they saw themselves getting beaten down by their spouse, right? They'd be like, this is ridiculous. And then you keep showing them video after video of how much it gets worse and worse and worse. And they go, well, I would never stand for this. How does this happen?
Hmm.
It didn't happen overnight. It's not like it's not like a guy or a girl is sitting there punching someone in the face on a third date. No, no, no. It's little by little, right? It's a verbal jab here. It's public humiliation there. It's a push there, right? It's a
Hmm.
private push, then a public push, then maybe a Ray Rice left hook in the elevator because she was running her mouth. Like, it escalates, right? And
Yep.
by the time you look at the end result, when you're in a hospital bed, and you end up, do you remember that Christy Mack and War Machine situation, right?
Hmm.
If you were to ask Christy Mack a week before that, because she had seen that happen, hell, a year before that, right? Like, let's say when she first met War Machine, could you imagine this man doing this? You say, there's no way that could happen, right? War Machine would never do that to me. But then when you give her the context of what happened, right? Oh, well, this is the context. You were, on again, off again relationship. You were in bed with another man. War Machine got a text from you, shows up at the house, and then he was already mentally unstable. Once you give him the context, you're like, how did we get here? Because, like your rights, oh, Armor, we're gonna take this away, right? We're gonna chip away at you. Think about it. They didn't have kids in dresses 20 years ago, right? It was little by little, right? It was, no, you need to be more in touch with your feminine side. Now you
God
need to be a
damn,
little more in
Drex.
touch.
We're 2 hours in.
Are
You
we?
know that?
Oh shit! Damn. Well, yeah, Amber. If you want, we can end like the main show, and then if you wanted to hang around for a live Q&A, because I'm actually going to hop in and be doing what you're doing, which is hopping in a car going to Wally World to go grab some food. But if you want to hop
Yeah.
in the Q&A, that'll definitely work. I know some guys got some
Yeah.
questions
If
for you.
you can read it out, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's on his phone. He can't. Or tell you what, live Q&A, anyone can talk, right? So we'll just
Yep.
let everyone talk to you. Try not to talk over each other, all right? I know there's a lot of you here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Show your stuff, man. How can people find you?
People can find me Alpha Male Lifestyle on Migtown.tv. I'm really not uploading to YouTube anymore. Everything is on Migtown.tv. Alpha Male Lifestyle. You guys are already there. Terrence Pop is already there. Migtown.tv is the place to be. Also, guys, we do have an alternative to Reddit. It's called Migtown.cafe. So that's Migtown.cafe, not .com, .cafe. So Migtown.cafe. It's a forum replacement for Reddit. As usual, we don't censor free speech. It's for the manosphere. Migtown.cafe. It has a live chat option, so you can chat with other people. It has a forum, for I don't know, divorce, dating, travel. Um, you just go there, you register, and we just have to approve you because we get a lot of spammers in there. So when you go there, you're gonna sign up. You're gonna be put in a waiting queue, and and we have to manually approve you so we don't have any spam, scammers, or bots coming in there. But yes, we officially do have a replacement for Reddit, Migtown.cafe.
Thanks everyone for listening. And as always, stay frosty.
Peace.
Bye.
Hallelujah.
Doing the Lord's work. Or doing
Yes,
Allah's work,
yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
All right. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week.